Welcome back. We have a new segment for you tonight. I know a lot of people don't have time to catch all the new shows on Netflix. Netflix is awesome and they have a lot of their own made-for Netflix TV shows. Some of them are phenomenal. And, you know, you go to work and people are talking about Stranger Things and some other shows, and sometimes you just want to know what's going on. So I'm here today to kind of give you a synopsis of a lot of these shows so that the next time one of your coworkers brings up these shows, you won't sound so clueless and you'll know a little bit about what's going on. Now, the biggest one that everybody's talking about is Stranger Things. Phenomenal show. It's got a lot of drama, got a lot of comedy in it, and I really felt it. I really understand why everybody liked it. Basically, it's a young man named Balky Bartakamoose moves to New York City to live with his cousin Larry, who's from America. And there's a whole lot of instances where Balky doesn't know a lot about what's, how things are done in America because he's from, Lithuania. So it's just a lot of hilarity ensues, but there's a lot of heart there too. And you've got Balky, you've got Larry, and then there's this kid who has a bunch of teeth knocked out, and that's pretty cool too. So make sure you check that out if you get a chance. Now, another documentary that people have really liked was Daredevil. Now, if you don't know about Evel Knievel and Super Dave, these guys were phenomenal. Evel Knievel once took a motorcycle and drove it right over a school bus full of kids that were on their way to school. They weren't even expecting it. It was just ridiculous. Shooting fire out of the back end. And, there's a lot of twists and turns in this show. Now, a lot of people will be upset if you tell them this spoiler, but later on, when Evel Knievel gets killed and resurrected, he starts blazing out of his head. His head catches like on fire, and it's like a skull with fire. But he still rides his motorcycle, and then he kind of fights evil and stuff. It kind of takes a turn in the second season, but definitely check that one out. That's a great one. Now, there's Mr. Robot. That's got a lot of social media attention lately. Now, Mr. Robot is one of my favorite films, especially if you're into sci-fi. Now, it tells the story of a man who's hiding. Now, he's not just an ordinary man, he's actually a robot. Now, he kind of changes his identity and puts a human skin on, and well, over the course of the 2 seasons, they find out that he's in fact Kilroy, and he's not actually a robot. So check out Mr. Roboto too. Now, there's another one that a lot of people liked, and that was Marco Polo. And that's about, the water sport, of course, and the explorers, the first people to reach North America. Now, as you all know, that was around, 1886 or so when people first landed in North America, and they colonized California and Hollywood, and then kind of spread east into the nation. And it tells you a whole lot about that, about the Chinese building the first cars to get people over to the East Coast. Now, Orange is the New Black is a really good one, especially if you like Halloween. I mean, the focus on pumpkins was a little much kind of midway through the season, but, when you're talking about Halloween, there's not really a lot to say. They focus on All Hallows Eve, and that part's pretty scary. But then when they segue into Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, it just kind of lost me there because Mike Myers is not even in that one. So it didn't really make a lot of sense. But I give it a solid, 5 out of 7. And then you got Luke Cage, which is, of course, the expose into the MMA world. And you learn a lot about, Kimbo Slice and Brock Lesnar and people like Sweaty Eddie Guerrero. It's a phenomenal show. I implore you to check that out. But then my most favorite one definitely has to be Narcos, which follows Pablo Escobar and how he came to power. And it's a very dramatic story and pretty accurate to the story, to the actual facts around him. So make sure you check those out and check back with me, and I'll make sure that you keep up to date on all of these new shows.